Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday. People like to welcome you all to the show. Look, I just wanted to read this latest. States that COVID-19 has now killed more Americans than the Vietnam War. More than 58,300 Americans have died from COVID-19, according to a tally kept by Johns Hopkins University. Stop right there. This tally is kept up by Johns Hopkins University, which means that no matter what city you're living in, if someone has died, then they take that person into account. That puts them amongst the numbers of the dead totally, or totallying the number in America. So that means that you have to go with the numbers. So now we got to go through the numbers of who passed. Did some die from heart attacks, and they call it COVID-19? Or are they combining COVID-19 and 5G together, that if you die from a high exposure of radiation, then that's considered COVID-19? Does they go hand in hand, coincide? I don't know. Some say that 5G, the amount of radiation that 5G puts out, is non-harmful to humans, although they do have case studies. On the Breakfast Club, Charlamagne tha God asked Fauci about 5G, and he said, basically, and I'm quoting, but according to his knowledge, there's 0% evidence that would link 5G or the dangers of 5G to coronavirus. Right. Meaning it was a yes or no question, but no, there was no yes or no answer. I don't know. Now, there are studies and evidence throughout the globe in other countries as well as here in America. And you can go back and check all the shows that we have done that has 5G in the title. And you can go back and replay those and see the evidence and what was said on the 5G. But Johns Hopkins, all data goes into Johns Hopkins, and then Johns Hopkins University. What they'll do is then they'll relay those numbers out to the American public. But there's no way for the American public to vet those numbers, meaning, is there a watchdog group that goes back and check the accuracy of Johns Hopkins University? I don't know. So that means that we have to rely on these numbers because that's what's being put out in the media. So it's 58,300. That compares with the National Archives figure of 58,220 deaths from the Vietnam War, which lasted more than a decade. Now, we supposed to be in a position as we evolve as human beings, not to have a reoccurrence of things that were tragic that took place in the past. Because we're spending billions and trillions of over a course of time of taxpayers' money to find and locate a cure for certain diseases, certain things that afflict people. There's always a fund, and there's always money being put into a fund. And if we haven't advanced from 40 to 50 years ago, then why ask for all these funds to go into research and you haven't came up with answers? It don't make sense. Confirmed cases of COVID-19 topped 1 million in the U.S. on Tuesday, according to Johns Hopkins again. So, it topped 1 million cases, 58,300 dead, which leads to set us on a pace to go past the 61,000 that the model predicted. First, it predicted 100 to 240,000 deaths. Then it went down to 61,000 deaths. Now we're on a pace they're predicting now 74,000 deaths due to this COVID-19. Now, 74,000 deaths, that's a lot of people. We get to 74,000, that's a lot of people. As I say, that's 74,000 people that's not paying taxes. 74,000 people that income that's not being put into the system. That's 74,000 people that's not on this planet. That's 74,000 people who is not breathing into this atmosphere. You know, I mean, that's a large number, no matter what scale you look at it. That's 74,000 people whose monies are not going into local businesses or small businesses. That's 74,000 out of that 74,000. Some of them are business owners who business might not come back. I mean, it's so much you can look into that. That's 74,000 people who family members are upset, sad, and hurt. Meaning that there's a nationwide sadness or depression that's in the system now. That's why you're going to need counselors and people to talk to. Along with this coronavirus, now you're looking up to the White House for some answers, and the injecting the disinfectants, the chaotic press conferences, the misinformation, the lack of unity surrounding this. It's hard to bear. Mr. Farrakhan gave the Savior's Day speech, the unraveling of America, and he sees something. He sent out a message, and it is what he said it is. You can't argue the fact. I mean, we watching this thing with our very own eyes. We looking at it. The only thing that's keeping us going really is black people's hope into the system or into the government to solve this thing. You know, some people are already abandoning ship, saying, "Hey, save yourself." But you know, we blacks are looking at it as, you know, hey, get it together. You know, got faith in the system, and it's, I don't know. You know, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why the faith is still so strong, but you know, you can't take a person's faith away from them, because what else do they have? Especially when they put their all into it and hope one day they'll get justice, and those who serve them injustice will one day see them as equals. And some people hold on to that, and that's their whole life, the whole ideology. So what can you do? Sometimes when you go and shake their foundation, you put them in a situation to where some never recovers, and they stay shook for life. So you know, I stay out of that. The novel coronavirus has laid siege to healthcare systems and battered economies around the world since health officials first identified it in December in Wuhan, China. China is saying, hey, it didn't come from us, but Wuhan is where they have those the virus labs. Now, I heard there was 4 parts to this virus. They said it was a mixture of SARS, AIDS, Corona, and something else. I can't remember, but you know, it was all in this one virus, and the virus got out. As President Trump on Tuesday applauded states that had reopened during the pandemic. Several governors warned that caution was needed before allowing people to crowd shops and restaurants. See, now that's a catch-22. On one hand, they're saying, look, we need money to flow back into the system to boost up the economy. On the other hand, people will die. I mean, wow, has this country ever been faced with making such a tough decision? You know, hey, get out there and support local business. Put your money back into the economy. Hopefully you have antibodies where you had the disease before and your immune system naturally conquered the virus and you can go out and you can survive. Or they're saying, hopefully, look, if 20 of you get out there and 5 die, but the other 15 didn't, and put their money into the system, we can get this economy rolling again, that was a good day. Wow. Hey, here's what it is. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said officials would be measuring certain critical data points as the state reopens businesses in the weeks ahead. Among these points, Cuomo said, is where the hospital emergency room began to exceed 70% capacity. Meaning, okay, resurgence. You go out there, people start getting sick, they flood the hospitals again, back to 70% capacity. We got to shut the thing down again. But a second shutdown would be far most worse than the first, because now it's critical. Now you got to bring the National Guards in to really clapper and make sure that everything is in place. First, they're just trying to do it and see if they can curve this thing with a soft hand. If it starts getting out of control, National Guards is coming in. Don't overwhelm the hospital system, Cuomo, a Democrat said during a news conference Tuesday. If you ever hit 70%, you can expect the number to go up for the next 2 weeks as people who just got infected actually get ill and some of them come into the hospital. That's Cuomo. Now, New York got hit hard. They had 22,900 deaths. New Jersey, right, was not too far, though. On Tuesday, Trump used social media to laud Greg Abbott, Texas Republican governor, who has announced that his state will ease stay-at-home restrictions this week. Trump, who has said the reopening of states is up to governors, also acknowledged moves in various parts of the country to ease restrictions. Many states moving to safely and quickly reopen, he tweeted Tuesday. You know, what is it? It's the economy, stupid. What is it? It's the economy, stupid. The economy. First and last, the economy. People, hey, man, boost the economy, And people are like, hey, wait a minute. I don't want to be the guinea pig. I don't want to be sheeple, Now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican. See how I do that? Cuomo, Democrat, DeSantis, Republican. Met with Trump in the White House on Tuesday and said his state had done a better job of combating coronavirus than others in recent weeks. DeSantis were castigated by critics for a delayed response in issuing a stay-at-home order. The state has seen 32,000 infections and more than 1,100 deaths. Now, and since they were slow on the testing, you don't know what's out there at this point. You go from D.C., Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, you name it. Florida has done better, said DeSantis, as he sat next to Trump. Some governors are urging patience. Yeah, because you got to look at since only 3, 4, 5% of the population been tested. How many people have been tested in Florida? You know, so hey, wait, one more. Meanwhile, in the South, where high rates of infections have occurred, health officials are paying close attention to Georgia, where businesses like hair salons and gyms reopened last week and restaurants were allowed to reopen Monday. In Louisiana, which has seen high rates of infections and deaths among black communities from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, Governor John Bel Edwards extended the state's order until May 15th. He said the state had not flattened its coronavirus infection curve enough to reopen. Louisiana has seen 27,000 infections and more than 1,800 deaths. Wow. I mean, it is rough. It's rough. I mean, this is actually what we're dealing with, but hopefully in the near future, we can discover and learn things for ourselves so we can share it with future generations on what to do so you won't be so dependent on governments. Because they're guessing, they don't know. You know, they trying to figure this thing out too. That's why you have a lot of people going into natural herbs and exercising, building up the immune system, using sea moss or black seed oil or cayenne pepper and water, and coming up with different remedies and, you know, figuring out the best way to handle this thing, because we don't know what's to come, but we feel like something is going on, in particular with this 5G, the coronavirus, Wuhan, these laboratories, how they did black people in the past, the injustice, the systematic racism. Hey, man, there's a lot going on, but we just touching bases. We'll bring you all more, but I just had to put that out there. And I'd like to thank all my listeners. We're definitely trying to get things rolling, you know, but until then, we'll keep you all informed, and we'll bring it from only the perspective that we can on Verbal Pick Radio. Stay tuned, be on the lookout, and I wish you all well, and we're out.